Welcome back, everybody, to our Everything Horror podcast. I am your host for this evening, Tessa Baker. I am joined by my co-host,
Paul Doska,
and my co-assistant host,
Chrystello Lovebello.
And tonight's episode is Beware of the Babadook. We are going to talk about the movie The Babadook. How excited are y'all that we're going to be talking about this?
Super excited.
So excited. It's so exciting.
Well, just so everybody knows, too, but this is the second to last episode of the very first season of Everything Horror. So I hope you've all enjoyed the ride so far. If not, we won't feel bad if you unfollow us.
Merlin will feel bad, though.
Okay, so we open in on a mother of a child who lost her husband in a car accident. So she's a single mom raising a son who happens to be 6 years old. And she's struggling with really bad dreams, depression. And, Crystal, help me out here.
Oh, about the mom? Yeah, let's see.
She went through a divorce or something.
No, she lost her husband.
Okay.
She lost her husband
She lost
in a car
her
accident.
husband the night that her son was born.
Yeah,
It's been 7 years, and she's still really depressed about it.
Yeah, they were...
She has, like, flashbacks of it.
Yeah, her husband and her were in the car driving to the hospital
To have Samuel.
and they got into a car accident, and Oscar died, and we're approaching almost 7 years later after the incident, approaching Samuel's 7th birthday, which he hasn't celebrated his actual birthday on the day ever.
So, yeah,
Which is kind of sad.
It is sad. It's almost like, so the husband died, taken to the hospital, 6-year-old. At the time, he's a 6-year-old before he turned 7. He's running around the house screaming, "Monster smashing head, that I'm gonna smash the monster's head." And for a 6-year-old kid at the time, he is very fucking crafty, let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's able to make weapons out of anything that's household related or anything in general. He's able to make weapons. Like he fabricated like a crossbow gun and a
catapult.
a catapult.
Which he actually was able to get a chair from the kitchen to get the key to the garage just to do all this.
To the basement, yeah.
Or basement, yeah.
Yeah, where all of his father's things are stored.
Yeah.
So one night, Sam comes into his mom's room and says it's happening again, and wakes his mother up, and she goes to show him that there's no monster in the closet, there's no monster under the bed, and everything is as it should be, and proceeds to read him a bedtime story. Which was
I don't even remember.
No, it was the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. But
right.
That was like the first night that we opened in on in the movie. The following night, she has Samuel pick out a book, and he grabs this red book off the shelf that
doesn't really know where it came from.
Yeah,
it was just like randomly there.
Have no idea where it came from, and the book is called Mr. Babadook. So Amelia, Samuel's mother, starts reading him this story, and it starts out, if it's in a word or if it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. And as she reads the story on, it gets progressively more disturbing and graphic, and talking about, like, essentially the Babadook is like a boogeyman, for lack of a better word.
Which is 10 times better than the boogeyman.
Yeah. Wouldn't you agree, Crystal?
I would have to agree.
Like, let's just put it this way. Would you rather maybe face the Babadook or the boogeyman? Or which one do you think is more scary, I should say? Babadook or the regular boogeyman? I would probably say Babadook, just because of when he starts saying his whole Duke.
That could really mess with someone of a younger age, but an adult would probably have a harder time of, I guess, messing with, but I can see how impressionable it would be on a younger child. But as you were saying, Crystal, what do you think?
It's really hard to say. I mean, because everyone's depiction of the boogeyman's different. Now, my version of the boogeyman would be Michael Myers. So if I had to go get Michael Myers the Babadook, it'd be the Babadook. I'd probably face the Babadook. I wouldn't run. I'd run from Michael Myers. So I'd go get him.
Yeah, we've heard that story. Yeah, we don't need any more people getting hurt.
Ripped out their flip-flops.
Right.
That poor girl.
That poor girl.
So Samuel is a very peculiar child. He's got a very interesting imagination. Like Paul had mentioned earlier, he was talking about, I'm going to smash the monster's head. I'm going to smash it, you know.
I'll protect you, Mommy.
I'll protect you, Mommy. And when the monster comes, I'll kill it. And
yeah, which is definitely a 6-year-old should be running around saying.
Out of the norm for a typical 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Samuel gets in trouble with his teacher, Mrs. Roach, because he brings the handmade crossbow gun to school and fires it off. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but
a broken window occurred.
But a broken window was harm. They proceeded to talk about Samuel and referred to him as the boy. Instead of calling him Samuel, they're like the boy, and treating him as though he's a problem when he really isn't.
It kind of goes back to like what we were saying on whatever episode it was, where parents do not understand kids can sense and see shit more than us adults can. So if they say they hear or say something or something is telling them this, wouldn't you want to listen and be like, hey, something's not right here?
I know that if it were us, and it was our kid, we'd listen to our kid and we'd believe our kid.
Well, yeah.
Not everybody else. Yeah, not everybody else is like that, though.
No. They just think it's the kid itself.
A little off base on the subject, but like we talked about in our last episode, The Witch, where neither one of Thomason's parents believed her or listened to her. It's like the same thing in here. Like, nobody believes Sam, and when he talks about, the Babadook and the monster or whatever. And they just kind of, pass it off like, oh, it's nothing, it's your imagination, it's not real, you're lying, or something like that, just trying to, sweep it under the rug, like it didn't exist.
I want to pause this thing for a minute, but did we even introduce Lamont into this? I'm now drawing a brain fart. Lamont, did we even mention you're here? Because my brain was kind of just thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. So, okay.
I didn't know. I was like, okay, I think Lamont's here, but I wanted to ask a question to him, but I'm not sure if he's still in the podcast or not.
Anyway, so Lamont is here, by the way.
He's listening in because he, unlike the rest of us, he hasn't seen the Babadook, but he can feel free to ask us any questions that he wants about the film itself.
Yeah.
This is kind of a little different than what we would normally do in our podcast, because usually the people that we have in our podcast, we all have seen the movie or
played it
or played the game or something. In this case, Lamont is
the guinea pig.
It's not the guinea pig. Don't talk about Lamont like that.
Jeezum.
He's a guest, but he can pick our brains about the movie. He can ask us questions.
Well,
he can ask the three of us.
I'm trying to get him to say something.
Yeah. Lamont, so if you want to, feel free to ask any of us a question. Or Crystal, if you wanted a question that you wanted to ask Lamont, go ahead and ask. Fire away.
Which, I'll just want to say to get this out real quick, but I know we just discussed this with before the podcast, but so that it's recorded, can you please tell everybody why you haven't gotten around to see this movie yet?
Just with everything going on with my sister and her health, so...
Which she's getting better, which is always good, but it's a shame that she had to be in the hospital till, end of summer, so...
She's,
Yeah.
Her and you and your family, you're in our thoughts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But, this is a... How old is this movie now? Did I even write that down, too? It's quite a few years old, isn't it?
Well, there's a short film of it.
That I actually showed you about.
Yep, that you showed me. Did you guys know that there was a short film that was actually was the inspiration for the actual movie, The Babadook?
It's called The Monster, which is a short film. It's like a 10-minute short film.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute short film based off of The Babadook.
Well,
the idea
was based off of it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually a black and white little short film. It came out in 2005. It was originally from Adams Films, but the link that the original was supposedly on doesn't even work anymore, but it is on YouTube, which after this podcast there will be a link to Monster, the short film that inspired the full-length movie of The Babadook, which we'll discuss more near the end.
I didn't know there was a short about the Babadook. I just remember a bunch of friends of mine talking about it, and they told me that I needed to watch it, so I went and looked it up, and was like, holy shit, this is a really good movie. I had no idea it was a short based off of it.
Well, that's like another
Based
film.
off a short.
So the Monster, which is the 10-minute short version that the Babadook was inspired from, was in 2005, and then the Babadook came out in 2014. And speaking of short films, there's also a short film for Lights Out as well.
Which, do you remember the title of that?
I do not, but I will look that up when we do the Lights Out episode. I will have that link up in our podcast.
Alright, but yeah, so, Lamont, so far, is there any questions for you so far from what we discussed? Or are you still, still okay with what you're hearing?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. It sounds like an interesting film so far.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, nothing has, made you want to question something. So. Alright, let's continue.
So, Amelia's taking Sam home.
Yeah, she's taking Sam home, and during the drive home, Samuel is kind of screaming and telling something to get out. And
Wait.
I think that's the part.
No, that's going too far ahead. There's Crystal, maybe you can help us out here with the part I'm trying to recall, the don't let it in part where Samuel's saying, don't let it in, don't let it in.
Well,
that's actually when they're driving their car, but I think when they're driving home from school, I can't remember if he's telling her, it's maybe when
that he's telling her.
I don't think it's that though. I don't think it is, though. I think the first time he talks about the Babadook, or telling to get out, is when they go to his Auntie Claire's house. She drops him off from school, or he stays home for school because he can't go back.
But he goes to he goes to Auntie Claire's house while Amelia's at work.
Right, and his mom tells her no more about the Babadook, don't say nothing else about the Babadook.
The Babadook's not real.
The Babadook's not real, and she gets a phone call from her sister, and when she finally gets there, she's like, "Why haven't you been answering your phone?"
When she had 10 missed calls from her, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, she scared the shit out of, I forgot her.
Ruby.
Is it Claire?
Ruby,
yeah, Ruby.
Ruby's the daughter.
Scared the shit out of Ruby.
Yeah.
About the Babadook, and that's when they're driving home that time. I think he's like, get out, don't let it in, and that's when he starts yelling that.
How about we talk about when Amelia rips up the book the first time and throws it away. Crystal, what happens after Amelia does this? She rips up the book and she throws it away in the trash. What happens next with the book?
Well, the book comes back. I think it's the next morning. She wakes up and the book is perfectly intact on her front doorstep.
After the 3 knocks.
So, after the 3 knocks. Then she proceeds, I want to believe she opens it up and looks through it again, and there's actually more to the book written.
Yes.
I think it's the more you deny it, the stronger I get. It's pretty much telling the more you deny I exist, the more powerful I am.
Yeah, because instead of focusing on Sam, I believe it
focuses on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wearing her down gradually, so that it can get inside of her.
So then she then tears it up, or she burns it. She lights it on fire and she burns the book.
Which, since we're talking about the book, I actually made a note of this because I'm kind of still curious about this. But even if the listeners even know maybe the answer and can maybe find us a link or something of this, but I'm actually curious how many books had to be made for this film. Because you know how directors are. They want that perfect shot. So I wonder how many books she had to rip up in the exact same page or burn the book in that exact same way or whatever. So I'm kind of curious about that. Because that was one note that I asked myself.
So Amelia tries to reach out to her sister Claire for help, and Claire refuses to help her and Sam, which makes Amelia feel isolated and alone, which makes her more susceptible to being worn down by the Babadook, because she doesn't have anyone helping her. So the isolation is getting to her. She tries to go to the police and say that she's being stalked by somebody
Calling her house
and leaving her a children's book, which the police just laugh in her face about it. And they ask her for the book, and she said that she got rid of it, that she no longer has it. And if you pay close attention while she's in the police station and you look at the wall that's behind the cop that she's talking to, there's like a coat or something that's supposed to like resemble the Babadook. So that's like the first time that you see something that resembles the Babadook, which makes her which makes I'm sorry, what?
Oh no, continue, go ahead.
Which makes her leave the police station, because she's just like, never mind, and it's fine, and proceeds to go home. And she's what is it? She notices bugs on her kitchen floor, and she goes to trace where the bugs are coming from in her kitchen, and she pulls the fridge away from the wall and pulls back a piece of wallpaper, and all these, like, I want to say roaches come out of the wall, which I already know how Crystal probably felt about that part. Because she
didn't have like
because Crystal doesn't really like roaches. I think she hates them worse than I do.
No, she does.
But so she thinks that she's got a roach infestation, and then the child services people show up to check in on Sam and her, and Sam proceeds to say, "I'm really very tired after the drugs that my mom gave me," which looks bad to the child service people, and she had to
explain what
the drugs were and where they came
They're
from.
tranquilizers.
From the doctor.
That makes it so much better.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of go back for a minute. Yeah. I don't think we really explained about the drugs, how he got them.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And why Amelia's sister, why she didn't really want to help her. Mm-hmm. For you guys listening, Ruby has a birthday party. Normally, Ruby and Sam will share the same birthday because she doesn't want Sam to have a birthday on the day he was actually born because his father died. Yep. At Ruby's birthday, the kids are outside playing, and you see how Ruby's a spoiled brat. Like, she opens up this present of a doll, and she's like, "I already have this one." And the mom's like, "Oh, well, now she has a twin, they can go shopping together." And they all shoo the kids out. And you see Amelia and all the moms sitting around, and they're talking, and one of Amelia's friends is like, I do, volunteer work with disadvantaged women who have lost their husbands, and at this point, Amelia's already started to be worn down by the Babadook. She's
not
tired,
just that,
her face.
She's starting to lose her cool, too.
Yeah, and
yeah, her temper's starting to degrade.
Yes.
And then, as Crystal was saying, she's listening to one of Claire's friends talk about working with disadvantaged women and how she doesn't have time to go to the gym. And then by that point, what does she do, Crystal? What happens to Amelia after that woman says that?
She gets pretty salty with her, and she tells her that must be a real shame that you have no time to go to the gym anymore. And she was like, I'm sure you must have a lot of common or something with those disadvantaged women. Mm-hmm. And everyone just gets quiet. Like, she shuts them down completely. Like, they're like, oh, shit. Which I couldn't kind of understand, you know, where she's coming from there. But, while they're, you know, fussing, it pans to the kids. Poor Samuel's up in the treehouse while the birthday party's going on, minding their own business to stay into himself. And Ruby goes up to the treehouse and tells Samuel, this is my treehouse, you can't be in here. And Samuel tells her, I'm not bothering anybody. Well, Ruby continues to antagonize him, saying,
be the little brat that
no
she
one
is.
likes you. Yeah, being just a little bitch.
You don't have a dad. Everybody else has a dad. Your dad didn't want you. Your mom doesn't want you. Nobody wants you. And
the poor little boy is just like, that's not true. That's not true. And she finally pushes Sam over the edge, and Sam pushes her out of the treehouse.
Well, before she pushes her out, he did say the infamous line that that the Babadook's gonna eat your mom and rip her arms off.
Yeah.
He did say that. He did threaten her about the Babadook. And
then Chrystello
pushes her out the treehouse.
And breaks
her
nose.
Treehouse and breaks her nose in two spots.
Yep. Poor Ruby lands on her face. Face first out of that treehouse. Oof. Kid asked for it.
Yeah, she kept her mouth shut.
Went a little too far with Samuel.
Just be not bothering anybody, and she would have had her nose still intact.
Okay, so to clarify why Samuel ended up on tranquilizers, they left
the party.
They left Ruby's birthday party. Amelia and Samuel, and they got in the car, and Samuel starts to have a freak out in the back seat. Seeing the Babadook. Yeah,
which I have to admit, that scene is probably one of my favorite scenes, because the way that kid portrayed and acted throughout that scene is just like what a kid would do too when they're like freaking out and
petrified, terrified, and everything.
Just having that bad day.
Having a seizure.
Yeah, he's like, get out, get out, get out. And then starts, like Crystal says, starts seizing. And Amelia has to, like, get out of the car, pull him out of the car. And she's, like, screaming for, like, these innocent bystanders to be like, help me, please, something's wrong with my son. Which I
think that's one of the favorite lines in my movie comes in. She's like, he's screaming, and she's like, why can't you just be normal? He starts screeching, and that's when he starts to seize up and everything.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing normal about that kid, sadly.
Nope.
He's had it rough.
But let's go back a little bit too. When Amelia and Ruby's mother, Claire, is at the park, and
oh yeah, that part. Go ahead. You want to talk about it, or you want me to?
You can go ahead, since you know where I'm going with it.
So Claire and Amelia are at the park with Ruby and Samuel, and Samuel is like, I think, messing around on like the monkey bars or something like that, I want to say. And he's like, he like jumps off like the first couple of steps, and he's like,
look what I can do, kind of thing. Like, Mom, watch me. Mom, watch this.
I'm gonna smash its head. And he proceeds to stomp on an invisible monster head. I'm gonna smash it. And like proceeds to have like a little like invisible sword fight or whatever. And then he
climbs up on like the jungle gym, and he gets to the very, very top. And calls out for his mother again, and that's when his mother and Claire pretty much are like, what the hell? Like, oh my god. But
which it is sad what he says about when he's on top of it, because they're talking about, God taking him home or whatever. And that's when they asked if he was like, God didn't want me or God didn't take me. That's what he was reaching out for, was because he asked about his dad. And that's why he did that, because he wanted God to take him. And then he fell.
Well, that's the thing. We don't really know if he fell, though.
Or something pushed him.
Well, I don't remember if anything pushed him, because I just remember you see him at the very top of the bars, and then, you just see Amelia and Claire run up like, holy shit, and then that's it. And then it goes to the next scene. I don't really think you actually see him get pushed or if he falls. I mean, I forget if I...
Well, he was crying in the car on the way home, like, he got hurt, so he's whining and whimpering in the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
On the way home.
Yeah.
And then they go across Miss Roach, and she was like, do some wars. She's like, a few wars. And I think that's when you first meet their neighbor, Miss Roach. And when they get home, poor Miss Roach.
Right. Yeah, that freaking lady, oh my god.
I don't know, she's like one of my favorite characters. I
right?
like Miss Roach.
She's nice and sweet, and all she wanted was just to make sure the kid was fine and
was happy. Yeah.
And I think she said she lost her husband too, or something.
Yeah, she's a widow too.
Okay. So we've mentioned so far that Amelia has noticed or started seeing things that remind her of the Babadook. One instance was in the police station. Another time it was noticed in the rearview mirror of her car, which caused the accident, the car accident. You want to talk about that part?
I kind of just remember it. During the crash, they end up, smacking into this guy's brand new car that he just barely got, and he's, shouting at Amelia because he just barely, got it off the plot or something, and, yeah, then she just, drives away because she just fucking kind of had, that fuck it attitude.
Well, she also sees the Babadook, too. She
in
has a
the
dream
mirror.
about the Babadook in the closet.
That's
and
right.
it starts, skittering across the ceiling, and, she hears it, and it's Babadook, duck, and she's underneath the sheets. And she gets real quiet, and she lifts the sheets up, and it ends up coming right above her, and, all you see is her open her mouth, and it sucks in. And that's when she starts seeing it in her vehicle. You can hear it, it lands on the car, and it's making the noises and shit, and she ends up hitting the guy's car. And he's like, what's wrong with you? You hit me head on, and oh great, you have a kid in the car too, you could have killed somebody. But that's when she really starts to disintegrate. That's when the Babadook really starts wearing her down.
Yep, and then Crypto, help me out on this one too, or honey. Is it right before or after the roaches part when she's washing the dishes and she's looking across the to the other side of the house because her window pretty much is can see the view of inside Mrs. Roach's house, living room where she's watching TV. And then that's the other time when you...
Yeah, that's another time where she sees the Babadook behind Mrs. Roach's chair in her living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering...
I think that's before the roaches, I believe.
Okay, yeah, because that would sound right. Because I think it goes into the roach or something like that. Yeah.
I want to read something I found that's in reference to the Babadook. It's like a little poem thingy. It says, if it's in a word If it's in a word or if it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. I'll always find a dark place to hide, a little something extra buried inside. You'll have to let me scare you thrice to reap the reward or pay the price. Now the bone-chilling features that you must view. Take care to keep watching the whole way through. Follow these steps to unlock your prize, but fail my challenge and be tormented by my cries.
I like that.
What do you think,
That's
Chrystello?
very Babadookish.
Very
That's very
Babadookish.
Babadookish.
Very Babadook.
I found that and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
So, Lamont, is there anything you want to ask so far since we've been talking more about it, or?
No, but the only thing I can say is that I'm definitely gonna watch it.
It's really good,
It's just-
Lamont.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. I would definitely watch the short film first on YouTube, though, Lamont, and then watch the full length, because then you'll actually see, like, what was inspired. Which, like I said, too, near the end of this episode, I'll dig a little bit more about the short story, but you guys are doing good so far.
Oh, also, forgot about the book. When she's looking through the pop-up book the second time, before she burns it, the extra pages actually show her strangling their dog Buzzy,
Breaking
and
its
then
neck.
strangling her son.
Yeah, it's showing her
And
as
killing
the one that's being
The killer.
being haunted instead of
And-
Samuel.
Instead of him, yeah. And the Babadook in each part is like right behind her, spread out in a big shadowy like form.
With his big
when
long
it-
arms.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah. What was I going to say, too? Oh, yeah, so, like, the first time when you saw the book, when you got to the part in the book where it said, like, let me in, you see Samuel on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, like Crystal's saying, with, you're seeing Amelia now, like, strangling the dog and strangling Samuel.
And being the one on the bed.
And being the one on the bed this time. Yeah.
So go on, Crystal, with what you were saying. Continue.
But yeah, it's just a foreshadowing of what's to come. Because when she does, go to the police and tell them, there's a child's book of graphic images of me killing my son and all that. But you don't know actually what's going to happen. You think it's just to scare her, but it's kind of foreshadowing what's to come if they don't get rid of the Babadook. Which, that's the point we're getting to right now, is that Amelia's, like, really worn down. She's getting more agitated.
She hasn't
Sam,
she hasn't really gotten any sleep at all.
Which is kind of why,
It's like-
same with Samuel.
Like 3 or 4 days, she hasn't gotten sleep.
Kind of like Samuel, because she's been having night terrors, and that's kind of the reason, the other reason why they also went to the doctor.
To get him tranquilizers so that he would sleep.
Yes, because we forgot to kind of go into that too after the whole Ruby party, but yeah. Gave him like a month's worth, was it? Or a week's worth?
No, just a week.
Week's
a
worth?
week's worth.
Before they go to a psychiatrist, they're trying to get him into a psychiatrist, and they're like, "This is something. Can you give him anything to sleep? Because he hasn't only had like 3 or 4 hours to sleep to both of us." And the doctor's like, a lot of parents don't want to give him this unless it's really bad, and she tells him it's really bad. So he gives him a week's prescription of tranquilizers, pretty much. And so then go to a psychiatrist. Do y'all want to take it from here, or do y'all want me to keep going into where the Babadook really?
Yeah.
I can talk about some stuff, and then you can fill in the blanks for me, or you can jump in at any point to help me out, Crystal, since you seem to know the movie pretty well too. I want to talk about when Amelia first snaps at Sam, and this is like Amelia quotation marks. she's like on the phone talking to her job, saying that she can't make it into work, she's not feeling well, and then she starts to get upset because her boss is giving all of her shifts away, and she's like, well, that's not what I need right now, you know, that's the last thing I need.
Well, she's kind of like, what is she supposed to do? She's sick.
She's like, I don't feel well, what am I supposed to do, you know? She proceeds to hang up the phone after getting off the phone with her boss and crawls into bed to try to go back to sleep, and Samuel comes in, and she's not even in the bed for 5 minutes, and Samuel comes in, and he's like, I'm really hungry, Mom. You know, I need to eat something with this medicine. It's making me sick, and I need to eat some food with it. And she just seems like she's getting more like increasingly annoyed, and then she winds up, like, rolling over and snapping at Sam and going, well, why don't you, if you're so hungry, then why don't you just eat shit, or something like that. Am I right, Crystal?
That's right, and she also, when he's talking, she's always like, why are you always talking?
Like,
kind of like the
she's mimicking the Babadook.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking like the Babadook. Yep.
But yeah, Sam runs away after that. He's really upset and goes back to his room and hides.
Curls up in the corner, and she tries to
talk to him and coax him out, and he tries to apologize to him, and she's like, y'all go fix something to eat, and he's like, I'm not hungry anymore. And then she ends up bribing him to go to, I think, Wally's. I guess it's like a Chuck E. Cheese over there or something. And she's like, you can have ice cream for breakfast if you want. And so they go out to eat at Wally's, and on the way home, that's when they wreck the car. That's when the Babadook jumps on top of her.
Yeah, you're right. That's when they wreck the car. Now, Crystal, would you agree that between, you know, the part where Amelia's in bed and she's talking like the Babadook to where she takes Samuel to the diner, do you think that there's like, wouldn't you agree that there's like a power struggle going on between Amelia and the Babadook over who's in control at that point? Because I felt like it was like going back and forth between them.
I do too. I think, like, you know, she was so worn down, but she still kept trying to fight the Babadook off. But, you know, the Babadook, I think this had wore her down so much, but there was a power struggle, like, almost like the last fight in a way, I guess, to see who was going to remain in control. I mean, because the Babadook really comes out when he gets him to wreck the car and stuff, and I do have to say one thing about the Babadook. I'm really surprised that they didn't get in trouble for using Steven Spielberg's T-Rex noises for the Babadook. Because there's sometimes he sounds like a fucking T-Rex.
I agree. I thought that was a rather interesting noise to be used for the Babadook. What did you think of the fact that the Babadook pretends to be Amelia's dead husband, Oscar, at certain points during the movie? What did you think of that?
I thought it was a really good ploy on his side, because he fed pretty much on, you know, her worst fear, her greatest sadness was losing her husband. And that was a big advantage for him.
It was a very dirty trick.
It was a very dirty trick. And he knew that using that would eventually work in his favor to get her to do what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I'm guessing the violin that she sleeps with that night is Oscar's violin.
Yes.
The night that everything starts happening bad.
Yes.
And poor little Sam's like, I don't think we should be here tonight. I can call Mrs. Roach. We can go stay over there. And he leans over to, I think, grab the violin or hug her, and she's like, leave it. And he takes off running. I did like, though, the Babadook kind of woke her up when he yells, there's someone in the house! And it come to find out Sam was actually on the phone with Mrs. Roach trying to get over there to her. And that's when shit starts hitting the fan right there.
Yeah, because she's like, what did I tell you, Samuel? And like, I forget the exact wording she said, but it's kind of like, you're not supposed to call Mrs. Roach.
I told you not to make any phone calls. I told you not to bother anybody.
And especially bothering poor Mrs. Roach or something like that.
Do you want her to get sick? Do you want her to end up in the hospital? Or die? And then she pulls the kitchen knife out of the drawer and points it at him. And she's like, is this what I have to do? Is this what it's going to take? And then she goes and walks in, like Crystal says, and cuts the phone cord after she takes the batteries out of the phone and slams it down on the counter because she's obviously pissed off. Or it's pissed off, I should say. But, yeah. So that's another example where Amelia, quotation marks, the Babadook, snaps at Sam. How about we talk about the part about poor Bugsy's fate. And I already know pretty much how Crystal's gonna react to this, cause
just like the witch.
Just like Fowler and the witch. Poor doggy. Alright, Crystal, why don't you tell us about what happened to poor Bugsy?
You're killing me with the... Make me talk about the poor puppies. So, throughout the film, as the Babadook's slowly taking over, Amelia, Bugsy starts to get, like, more and more antsy around her. There's one point where she's trying to hold on to Bugsy, and, he starts to kind of, like, squeal and wobbles away from her and starts growling at her. And you know, he kind of avoids her, and he'll stay by Sam and, you know, pretty much protecting Sam while she's in the room. At this point in time, Bugsy and Sam are hiding from Amelia after she cuts the phone cords and stuff, I believe. And they're hiding, I think, in like a cupboard or a bedroom, and Bugsy ends up wiggling out of the room and runs down to the kitchen, or the living room. At this point, Amelia is completely taken over by the Babadook. She's sitting in the chair, she's twitching, and her vision's going in and out. It's like the Babadook's trying to adjust into her body, and she's just sitting there. Poor Bugsy's barking and barking and barking. She finally clicks the TV off and looks at him, jumps up real quick, and poor Bugsy realizes, oh shit, I fucked up. The poor little dog just kind of starts cowering and takes off running. She grabs the little dog in the kitchen. You don't see it, but you hear him squealing and his legs kicking, and he's growling and trying to fight, and next thing you know, snap. She snaps poor Bugsy's neck and drops him into the kitchen floor. And, that poor little dog, he tried, but just like the book depicted, that was Bugsy's fate. Which, also, before Bugsy, there is a part that we didn't talk about where Sam and Amelia are in the living room watching TV, and Amelia looks over on the couch, and Sam's been murdered. He's killed. And she starts screaming and hollering, and she wakes up. Sam's yelling for her to wake up, and when she comes to, he's cowering, and she's holding a knife up in the air. Like she's actually about to do what she saw in her dream.
And...
But that's before Bugsy happened.
Yep. And let's go back a little bit too, which I think it's around the same time Crystal just mentioned. But we'll talk about the creepy nude, where the mother trying to like stay up, she doesn't want to fall asleep, and as she's watching what I call the creepy nude, it's pretty much showing like a nude about how she killed Samuel, the cops shot her, and then outside when she's seeing her body getting taken away to the morgue, she actually sees her reflection staring back at her.
In the window.
Oh, I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah, which was creepy.
It was like another thing, another foreshadowing of what was to come, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Which it almost happened. Almost.
It almost did.
So, how do you guys like about when the Babadook actually finally took over, and after she kills Bugsy, she starts ripping her teeth out? Like, that was just a random thing to me. I thought they added was like, because you know,
I
you're
really
up in the movie,
don't think
she's
they
like
needed
touching
it.
her jaw and stuff. I mean, to me it makes sense. I mean, like I said in the movie, she would touch her jaw and stuff and like rub her.
Yeah, I think
face.
she had like a toothache or something. I think it was just getting to her, and she was just getting annoyed with it, so she just.
Or it ripped it out, yeah.
Yeah, it ripped it out.
I was just like, that's, you know, unnecessary. You kill a dog and you rip a tooth out, okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, after the teeth pulling, she goes and tries to find Samuel.
But Sam's ready. He gets his little arsenal and he's ready to fight.
Yes, he is. That kid already was prepared. Kind of like we were saying before about the crafty weapons and shit. He was definitely prepared.
First he shoots her in the shoulder with the little crossbow gun, and then he launches the catapult with the ball in it and hits her in the head.
Yep.
Which
and that's a croquet ball though too, or a cricket ball. So that's a hard little ball she got left in the head with.
Yes.
Yeah. So which gives Samuel time to like get away and hide while she's like, it's like
find him, I guess.
Trying to recover from being hit.
Yeah.
Which Samuel's hiding in the closet, in the linen closet, up on the shelf. Which then there's
and then someone knocks on the door.
Mrs. Roach, I think. Yeah, Mrs. Roach.
Mrs. Roach comes to visit. I'm not gonna lie, at that part when she opens the door and there's poor Mrs. Roach right there smiling, and she's, you know, telling me, I love you guys, I just want to check on you. I called myself, I swear to God, if you kill this little old lady off, I will be so fucking mad. Like, that was my whole thing. I thought she was going to kill Mrs. Roach.
That's what I thought, too.
I was like, please,
Yeah.
please don't kill the old lady.
Yeah, we like the old lady.
That's one old lady I do agree that I liked. So he runs and goes hide while the Babadook or Amelia tried to recover from getting hit in the head with a...
Goes downstairs to talk to Mrs. Roach to get Mrs. Roach to leave. Which I think by this point, doesn't Samuel get downstairs to the basement, Crystal, while this is happening? Or like runs that general direction and off where the Babadook notices and goes after him?
I think so. I'm trying to remember because I know there's one point where, like, when she shuts the door, she tells Sam that we shouldn't stay here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. I'm going to back up. I went a little too far. So she comes in, and Sam's in the kitchen, and she's saying, we're going to go stay with Mrs. Roach, and I'm so sorry, and nothing bad's going to happen to you, and, you know, your father's in a beautiful place, and you would love it there, and she proceeds to start to
kind of go for his neck.
Try to choke him.
I kind of even wrote a note here for this part. So when she's admitting all this stuff to Samuel about how she's been treating Samuel bad, I kind of wrote, so is this really her, or is this supposed to be a trick to get him to get closer to
A
Amelia.
false sense of security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lull into a false sense of security.
Yes. So that's what I was wondering, but it goes to show, too, that Sam was more prepared, too, because as Amelia was getting more closer and getting ready to, I'm assuming, strangle the kid, Samuel gets a knife and actually stabs Amelia's hand.
No, the leg. She stabbed him in the leg.
Right, the leg. Yep. Yeah, and then he runs down. Yeah, that's where he runs down to the basement.
Yeah, that's when they chase down in the basement.
Yep. And that's when the door gets shut, and then that's when she just kind of like saying the same thing. I think what Crystal was trying to say, or you were trying to say, about down in the basement.
Oh, Samuel gets down to the basement, and the Babadook, a.k.a. Amelia, goes down to the cellar and trips over one of Samuel's booby traps and lands
almost face first
on the floor. And then Samuel comes up behind and hits
her over the head, so to pretty much
and
knocks her out.
And then when she starts to come to, she's all tied up with rope on the floor, and she's laying on her back, and she's trying to like get free. And you see Samuel at the time he's standing at a safe distance away from the Babadook, and
she's pretty much trying to tell her that I'm here to protect you, Mommy.
Yeah, I'm here to protect you, Mommy. I won't let him take you away.
Don't let him in, or I think he's...
You let him in. You have to let him out. You have to get him out. And then Samuel proceeds to get closer. And to that point, the Babadook gets one of the hands free and grabs a hold of Samuel by the throat and gets the other hand free and starts to choke him. And then you see Samuel reaching out for Amelia's face to touch her, be like, I love you, Mommy. I'm here, Mommy. Don't go away.
Let it out.
It's like let it out, stay with me type of thing.
Yeah,
which I thought, despite the fact that the poor kid's being choked, I thought that was a very touching moment when Samuel is trying everything that he can to
protect his mom,
to keep his mother with him, so that she doesn't go away. So
because his mother's all that he has left. So.
Yeah,
and I think he said something around the line of Ruby won't let me stay with them or something like that, or something. I think something got mentioned around that.
You want to help me fill in the blanks here, Crystal? Anything I'm missing?
About it wasn't Sam. It was Amelia at one point that tells Sam that they won't have anything to. Well, they're sitting in a tub. I think after they wrecked the car, they're back at the house and they sit in the tub, and that's when Amelia tells Samuel that Auntie Claire and all them don't want to fool with them anymore, because he's like, I can call Auntie Claire, and she tells him Auntie Claire doesn't want to talk to us anymore. So that's when you find out that they really don't want to mess with them. But as far as down in the basement, it's that power struggle again, because he's rubbing on his mom's face, and you can see as she's fighting, she finally, I guess, gains control of herself, and she turns over and starts puking out this black, ichor stuff.
Black tar-like substance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and letting the Babadook out of her. After that, I remember they go back up to up to the top of the house, out of the basement. And the next thing you know, Sam says, you can't get rid of the Babadook, and gets sucked up the staircase to the bedroom, which Amelia runs after him, and as she gets into the bedroom, I think he's sitting on the bed, and
oh yeah, he's being like thrown around
like a rag
Thrown
and
against
slammed
the wall
up
and
against the
stuff.
wall and stuff. And Amelia
And
goes,
she-
yeah.
Keep
Go
going,
ahead.
Crystal.
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, she just, she tells them, get out of here. This is my house. You're trespassing. Leave. You're not welcome here. If you touch my fucking son again, I'll fucking kill you. And while at the same time, the Babadook's growling and making the house crack and shake. And then it becomes like a pissing contest between her and the Babadook. The Babadook's screeching, the mom's screeching, and they're yelling at each other. And finally, the mom overcomes the Babadook, and while she's defeating the Babadook tries to take Sam, tries to suck him towards him, and Amelia grabs him and hangs on to him.
With the Babadook at the time has grown, like his hands are like
He's huge.
He's
are
really
fucking
big from feeding off of her. Yeah.
So, Alex, so that's when I think they do the yelling back and forth, and the Babadook finally kind of like recedes, and shrinks down, and, next thing you know is you just see the clothes. His cloak and his hat and his hands just flop down, and poor Sam's behind Amelia, and she inches up to his hat, and Sam's like, no, don't go by him. And Amelia lifts up his top hat, and of course it lurches forward and screeches, leaves out the bedroom, and flies back into the basement.
And the door slams behind it.
Slams and locks.
Okay, so before we finish the ending, I did notice you guys forgot to mention a couple things. So let's go back a little bit. Back in the basement, I'm trying to remember exactly when it happens. I know it's Amelia, and she sees the dead husband. Just like...
Oh yeah, it's after she goes down to the basement after after Bugsy gets spooked out of the basement because of Samuel doing like a magic show down there with like some firecrackers and stuff, and the firecracker noise spooks Bugsy out of the basement, which shows Amelia that somebody is down in the basement, So she goes down to investigate and finds Samuel down there doing like a magic show with his father's things spread out all over the place.
And you also notice when she's down there too, after she finds that one picture of her and Oscar, she looks over to where she notices Oscar's, I believe it's hat and suit and violin and shoes up against the wall, which is almost like
a silhouette, which is almost like how the Babadook's portrayed.
Not just that, but back to like how the jacket or whatever looked like at the police department. And then, so then that was the first time, and then back at the final confrontation with Amelia and the Babadook, the husband shows up one last time.
In their bedroom.
In the bedroom.
And he's doing the, just breathe, we're almost there. Just breathe, we're almost there. I think it's gonna rain, and then you see this flash of light, and then his head split,
in half.
In half.
Pretty much, I think is how he died. I'm assuming is what that's supposed to represent. I think.
Yeah.
But yes, but I just wanted to.
And again, it's a very dirty trick to use the woman's dead husband against her. Very dirty trick.
Yes. But yes, so you guys are Crystal's pretty much right. She's at the very end. The Babadook and Amelia's pretty much brawling it out with the screams, and she's yelling at him, if you ever touch my fucking boy again, I'll fucking kill you. And that's when I believe it turned into the husband, and then said that stuff again, when it's going to rain. And then I think it goes screaming down into the basement, walking behind it.
So, after she gets the Babadook to retreat to the basement, she goes down and tries to open the basement door, which it doesn't open because, like Crystal said, it's shut and locked behind it. So we go forward a little bit, and it's like the next day or whatever, or a couple weeks later or whatnot. It's Samuel's birthday, and this child services people show up, and everything's like all like back to normal, and they talk about how are you doing? Things are going well. And then Samuel says, I've never celebrated my birthday before. And they go, well, that's not good. And then Amelia goes, well, Samuel's father died on his birthday. So this is the first time that we've ever celebrated his birthday on the actual day, because of this is the reason why, is because he lost his father on his birthday.
Which, that's what Samuel told them.
Yeah, which is what Samuel told them.
Which, if you can imagine a kid even saying that.
Yeah.
That
poor kid.
His father died on his birthday just to have him.
Oh, poor baby.
Which, yeah, that's pretty much about it, besides the very ending.
Where, Samuel and Amelia are outside, and Amelia's in the garden, like, weeding and stuff, and, she finds some worms and asks Sam, where's your bowl? And Sam brings the bowl over, and it's like this big bowl of worms, mealworms, just various different worms. And,
she noticed, she said something like, we have a lot today, or something like that.
Yeah, we have a lot today. And then, she goes inside to the house, and Samuel follows her to the door at the top of the stairs. And she goes, now go outside until I call for you, and don't come in until I do. And so Samuel runs back outside to play, and she goes downstairs. And, what happens next, Crystal?
Well, before Sam goes out, he asks her, will I ever get to see it? And she tells him when you're old enough. And that's when she tells him, go out and play and don't come until I call you. So she goes down the stairs, the big bowl of worms. And, she goes down in the basement, she's looking around. And out in the darkness, you hear it growling. And the Babadook shoots out from the back of the basement and, I guess leans over her. And Mom's, leaning backwards, kind of terrified. And she finally stands back up straight. She's like, shh, shh, shh. And she's comforting it. And she puts the bowl of worms down the ground. She's like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. And she's just consoling a child. And it finally starts whimpering and quieting down. And it finally recedes back into the shadows, and you see the bowl of worms get sucked in the far back of the basement where it's completely dark. And she goes back up out of the basement, and shuts the door, and goes back in the backyard with Samuel. And he shows her a magic trick with his little coin, and then he puts the coin in the plate, and it turns into a dove, and everything is all happy, and they're happy, and Babadook's living in their basement. Yeah. Life is better now.
Life is so much better. So yeah, that was pretty much the Babadook movie. One thing that I'm now looking at my note is at the doctor scene, the doctor even said to Amelia too, before they got the tranquilizer stuff, is that the doctor said to Amelia, all children see monsters. Which, I kind of like that line just because, to me, it's just like, well, at least the doctor gets it.
Oh,
That's true.
There's something I want to mention. There is this guy on YouTube and Instagram called Pinkstylist, and he actually does YouTube videos, like makeup tutorials and stuff, and he actually also did makeup. He did his own version of makeup for the Babadook, and he went on Omegle. And
what is Omegle for people that don't understand what that is?
For those that don't know, Omegle is like it's like a cam to cam chat site where random people chat with different strangers who have similar interests, and they talk.
They just talk or whatever, yeah.
So Pinkstylist dresses up, does makeup for the Babadook, and goes on Omegle to gauge reactions of people to see what they think of it. And a lot of people were freaked out by it, and some thought it was really awesome, and some people just didn't know what to think of it. But I recommend that you go check him out on YouTube. His name is Pinkstylist.
We will have a link to the...
And we will have a link in the information for the podcast, but he's really funny.
It is fucking hilarious.
And he's also on Instagram as well, and he's really funny, and his makeup
is spot on.
And it's amazing. He does other characters like It from he does Pennywise from It for Stephen King.
He does a vampire bat.
He's done a vampire bat. He's done Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Jeff the Killer.
Yep. Jeff the Killer. He's done Slender Man, Smiley.
The Unwanted House Guest.
The nurse from Silent Hill. He's done various different makeup jobs, and this guy is phenomenal.
He even did the nun from The Conjuring 2.
Yep, he did Valak from Conjuring 2, which was that creepy-ass nun.
He done Chucky, and he done, the other one that we just recently saw. Come on, it's in my head. Where are you?
Billy the
yes.
Dummy.
Yeah, Billy the Jigsaw puppet.
From Saw, and we also noticed that he did makeup for Billy from Dead Silence.
Which I kind of wish he had one.
Did an Omegle for
yes,
that. Yes,
oh my god.
That would have been great.
Well, if you guys take a look at that makeup video of Billy from Dead Silence, oh my god. Like, that would have been a perfect video to see, like, him try to go with other strangers. Because that was just so spot on, and it would have been interesting to see, like, what he would have said to him, too. Like kind of like, shh, because if they say anything, the tongue's supposed to be ripped out, or sucked out, I forgot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's...
I'll have quite a bit to talk about when we actually do a Dead Silence episode. I'm going to have, like, a lot to talk about.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But seriously, guys, check him out. He's really great. He's entertaining. Paul and I spent like an hour or so yesterday just watching his YouTube videos and laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was just so great.
Yeah, just because of some of the people's reactions alone are just hilarious. Especially ones that just see him and then just disconnect. Or it's like, oh shit, disconnect.
Or they start screaming like bloody murder.
Yeah, which he does have like a headphone warning too for people wearing headphones, so that's good too. Mm-hmm. Cause there's that one kid, oh my god. I could definitely see ears bleeding after that kid. But yes, is there anything else, babe, before I kind of take over about the short film? or Crystal or Lamont, do you guys have anything to ask or fill in, Crystal?
I don't have anything to add. I've mentioned everything that I needed to. So if Crystal doesn't have anything to add.
Well,
I do have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Which, I analyze crap. Like, just like the witch about Thomason not being Catherine's actual daughter. I put things together, I analyze stuff like that. Like, I wonder what you guys' idea with the Babadook was. Like, mine, in all honesty, I think the Babadook was just a big manifestation of her grief. The mom's grief. Of the 7 years, just depression.
Just building up.
Building up, became this monster called the Babadook. I mean, because you kept bringing up the dad and how miserable she's been these past 7 years. And, I think it was really a representation of how nasty depression can make somebody.
Yes. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I also agree with that as well.
What about you, Lamont? What you think? What is your idea so far about the Babadook?
Sounds like he's like someone not to be trifled with for the most part.
So what you're saying is, if you see a Mr. Babadook book, you're gonna stay the fuck away from it?
I would.
I would.
I wouldn't even open that book. I wouldn't even touch it.
That's like my roommate watched it with me last night, and he was like, I wonder if you can buy this book in real life. I go, I'd rather you didn't until you leave my house, because the house is not fucking big enough for us and the Babadook to live together. So, he just started laughing. I'm like, you're not bringing that shit into my house, no sir.
No,
you
sir.
can move in your truck.
It's like, oh, no.
Your truck. You and that Babadook can go on a date with each other, but not here.
So y'all can, not in this house. Y'all can go on a road trip or something, but don't bring it in my house. You can leave. Bye.
Oh.
But that's about it.
Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
Guess what? According to Google, there is a Mr. Babadook book.
Oh boy.
Oh
there
God.
actually is a Mr. Babadook book.
How much?
Good, I need 8 copies.
Right? Exactly. Me too.
eBay, there's a special edition with let's see here.
Oh, that's what I have.
Wait, hold on. Yep. There's a book, though. It says the book.
You sure it's a book and not the
Pop-up
what?
of Nightmares. Pop-up Book of Nightmares, yeah. But anyways, according to Google, there is supposed to be a Mr. Babadook book. But, like Crystal says, don't bring that book in my house. But knowing my boyfriend, he would probably want to see what would happen, just to see. Be like, let's see what happens! Oh, what the hell!
Start getting messages. We got some weird shit going on up here, Chris. I'm like, good luck. I wish you guys the best. So, all I can tell you guys is don't let it in.
Don't let it in. Don't let it in! But,
Maybe we can have a sleepover.
but okay, so let's go back to the short story for a minute. So, the short story is like 10 minutes long, black and white. It was a film by Jennifer Kent, which the Babadook, the full length, is actually a film by Jennifer Kent. I just wanted to throw that out there too. So, she actually took her short film and turned it to a full length. Another thing that I find interesting is when it finally came out on DVD, you had a choice between the regular DVD or the Blu-ray version. I, of course, went with the Blu-ray version because for a limited run, you got a special edition Blu-ray that had a limited edition pop-up packaging exclusive to Blu-ray extras. So, you know how like when DVDs have like that, what do I want to call it, case around the actual DVD?
Sleeve?
Like a sleeve, yeah. The Babadook sleeve for Blu-ray is almost like a little page from the book. It's the part where the mother opens up and you see the Babadook with his gigantic mouth open with the two wide eyes and
Arms outstretched.
arms stretched out, and it's the part where it says, if it's in a word or if it's in a book, you can't get rid of the Babadook. But it's also cool, which I can't confirm this 100%, so I really hope it is on the regular edition. If not, I apologize. But, the special features come with deleted scenes, the cast and crew interviews. It also has the behind the scenes of making of the film. It actually includes Jennifer Kent's original short film called Monster, which I will have the link up to you guys after the end of this podcast in the description of the episode. And then it also has its theoretical trailers for you guys. But I just wanted to throw that out there too, that for those of you that would like to see the short film, it's also on the DVD as well. But another thing I'm going to talk about real quick about the short film is not only is it 10 minutes long, black and white, you can definitely see where Jennifer Kent's full length came into play from the short film as well, and what got changed. So, like, near the end of the short film, you see the Babadook with the little kid in the bedroom. The mother comes running up and gets in front of the Babadook, and the mother shouts at the Babadook and says, "You do not have my permission to be up here. You do not get my permission to leave your room. You need to go back down there and stay there." So it's almost like it's after. I don't really know how to word it, but it's like it's been there all along, kind of thing. Like it's been part of their family for so long that this thing didn't have permission to do what it was about to do with the kid. And
she's also scolding it like a child.
Yeah, she's scolding it just like a child. And then the very end, kind of like where Krista was mentioning about feeding the worms to it, where you see the dish get like pulled into the blackness of the corner of the basement. The ending of the short film is the mother is pouring like a glass of milk and puts it by the door where the Babadook is in the short film, and then you just see the door creep open, and then you just see the Babadook's hand just take the milk and then slam the door, and then that's the end of the short film. But yeah, there's quite a few lines that kind of did carry over to her full length, and then there's some that got changed, especially like the confrontation between the mother and the Babadook, and then the ending, where in the film, like the full-length film, it got fed worms. In the short film version, it got given a glass of milk. But, yeah,
So not too much change, but just small little things.
Yeah, the small little things. Besides the fact that the full length is color instead of black and white, but yeah,
Yeah.
But for a short film turning into a full length, I thought that was pretty cool, because you got to see more of what happens, and got to see, like, how the book can come into play with the short film. Didn't really have a book, so that was cool too. But I am curious, like I said, to know how many books had to be made for this film, for that film, I should say, just because of the whole ripping out the pages and burning the book. I can only imagine how many times they wanted to reshoot those scenes, if they even did. But who knows? Maybe the behind the scenes of making of the film on the DVD will actually answer that question for me too, because I don't even think I answered all the. God damn it, not answered, but seen that stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know if that limited run of the pop-up for the Blu-ray is even around anymore, but I can definitely check out for you guys. And maybe post a link on that too as well. But does anybody else have anything to add about the Babadook before we wrap it up?
I definitely recommend you watching it. It's a really well made film with the practical effects and the shaky camera. I enjoyed it. They knew what they were doing when they did this film. I'm not much of a possession movie. Like I get tired of the possession of Emily Rose or the possession of this, and this. I really get tired of like demon possession films. But this one really was different and really well done. And for me to say it, since I don't like them films, they're beating a dead horse. It's awesome. I really enjoy the Babadook. It's different, it's unique, and it's not going to scare you with pop-up scares. It's more of a psychological kind of fear. So it's really good. I recommend you watch it. And it's on Netflix right now, so you don't have to buy it. It's for free. Check it out on Netflix. And yeah, spend some time with good old Mr. Babadook.
I guess one other thing is there anything anybody felt like they disliked about the film? Was there any part where you just kind of were like, I don't really like this part? Was there anything like that, or?
The yanking the tooth out.
Yeah, like the yanking the tooth out part and poor Bugsy getting his neck snapped. I mean, I felt bad for the dog.
Once
Which I have to admit, no one talks about the dog at the end. Like, you see him in the rose bush is like buried, but like no one like really talks about the dog after he dies. Like he's like, oh, the dog's dead. We're all happy. Hey,
yeah,
for the rainbows.
Yeah, that was the only weird part. But maybe they just did it like that because that is their way of moving on. I don't know. I don't know. That was weird. Well, okay.
Like Crystal says, go check it out. I recommend it as well. And like she also said, it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you don't have to pay anything to watch the movie. Just search it and hit play and boom. It has a really good storyline, really good practical effects, like Crystal said. And it's not a jump scare kind of movie. It's a psychological.
Oh, what was the budget on this movie? You might have to look it up real quick. But, cause I am kind of curious to see what the budget was and how much they made on the box office. But while you're looking that up, Lamont, so from what we've been talking about, is there really anything that you would like to kind of chat about the film, or what? Like, there's got to be something for you.
Yeah, that pulling the teeth part. It's I don't know, like that. I don't know. I have to see the movie for myself to check that particular scene out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good scenes, too. Like, there is that weird scene, which I'm surprised none of you guys talked about. I don't even know if I should even bring it up, but it's the,
You talking about the moms on the bed?
Yep.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
I just thought that was really fucking weird.
Why are we bringing up this scene? Because it's very irrelevant to the actual storyline, and I don't think we want to
Wait, what happened?
I don't think we want to mentally.
See, well, Mom wants
I
to
don't
know.
think we want to mentally. I don't think we mentally scar our listeners, but I guess we're gonna go there. Okay, so
Viewers beware.
okay, so we're gonna go there. Okay,
We're in
all
for a
right.
scare.
Lamont asked for it. Okay, buddy. So Amelia's downstairs and she's watching TV and she's seeing like this couple on TV being all romantic and stuff and kissing and everything else. And she shuts off the TV and goes upstairs. She reaches into her little drawer and gets her little handy little dandy little vibrator thing. Gets into her bed, proceeds to take off her underwear or whatever, which we can guess because she's underneath the blankets and she's like shimmying like she's taking something off. So she's obviously, you can fill in the blanks what she does with the vibrator. Unless you really want me to say it.
Yes, Lamont.
If you really want me to say it, then wow, you've got some problems if you need me to tell you what she's doing with that vibrator.
What to say? Oh, yeah.
What messes with me, though, it's like when the little boy comes in and she grabs him with the same hand that she has underneath the blankets. I'm like, don't touch her with that hand. You know where it's been. How dare you?
I'm surprised that this is the part that I'm like, what the hell of this scene? It's like, why do you pull him into bed with you and throw him underneath the blankets and your panties are still probably down and the vibrator's probably still, down between your legs. It's like, why would you do that with a 6-year-old kid in your bed? Just no.
Mom, why are you vibrating?
I don't care. No.
All right.
Must be a hobby she loves.
Oh, my God. All right.
No judgment.
So, if you guys have skipped it, here we go. Here's the next thing after that interesting chat there.
You asked for it.
Yep. Vermont wanted to know, and we went there. Anyway, so the budget of the Babadook was $2 million. The box office brought in $7.5 million for the film. So it really did well. It almost, tripled, what it did. So, another interesting thing that I just found is this little section about symbolism. How the person writing it kind of was making it like a real life thing.
So I'll read about the symbolism part. Writing for the Daily Beast, Tim Tiemann contends that grief is the real monster in the Babadook, and that the film is about the aftermath of death, how its remnants destroy long after the dead body has been buried and burned. Tiemann writes that he was gripped by the metaphorical imperative of Kent's film, with the Babadook monster representing the shape of all grief, all-enveloping, shape-shifting black. Tiemann states that the film's ending underscored the thrum of grief and loss at the movie's heart, and concludes that it informs the audience that grief has its place, and the best that humans can do is marshal it.
So pretty much what I thought about was it's just like depression and stuff. That's what it really is a fight against depression.
Yeah.
The malevolent Babadook is basically a physicalized form of the mother's trauma. I believe that the Babadook embodies the destructive power of grief throughout the film. We see the monster insist nobody bringing up her husband's name. She basically lives in denial. Amelia has repressed grief for years, refusing to surrender it. So basically, the Babadook is her metastasized grief that comes into being. Yeah, it's her denial.
Which is a very realistic view of it, because like I said, depression being someone who's fought depression, it's a monster. It really can turn you into an ugly person.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you don't fight it and you don't try to,
If you don't deal with it, it turns inwards on you and it becomes something else.
it turns you into a totally different person. It really does eat you from the inside out.
Yes.
And that Babadook is really a good interpretation of that.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting, though, about the symbolism, though. So thank you, Wikipedia.
Oh, I have something else I want to add real quick. It's about Amelia's behavior towards Sam throughout the movie. She seems distant anytime that Sam tries to give her affection, wants a hug from her or something. She pushes him away. She gets upset with him. And, she's like, stop, don't do that. She almost, she doesn't know how to love him. And resents him in a way because she feels like he's to blame for Oscar being dead. That her husband's gone. And you really don't see her actually showing Samuel that, motherly affection and actually being more of a mother to him until the, almost, at the end where she's fighting for him. Yeah, you don't see her actually being his mom until the end. But I just wanted to mention that, really quick, because that's something that I also noticed, how she was just being towards Samuel throughout the movie until the very end.
Yeah. Just like I was just reading again, that one night when Amelia was having, that dream about Oscar even mentioned, if you want me to be brought back or something like that, is to...
If you want me to be with you, or you want us to be together, you have to bring me the boy.
Yeah, bring me
the boy.
Sam.
And then she says the same thing, stop calling him the boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's pretty much about it that I can see, because, we can kind of go on and on about this, about the making of it and stuff, because there is some quite interesting things, but I think we hit all the topics pretty good anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But, is there anything else, I guess?
I don't have anything else to add. Crystal, Lamont, you guys have anything you want to add?
Or ask?
Going back to that bed scene. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't.
Please don't make me go back there. Please tell me that you don't need clarification.
I just thought it was kind of like what you guys were saying. I just kind of surprised, though, that you didn't at least mention, when she was in bed, having her thing going on, and then the boy jumps in, it's just what the hell? You'd think, what? Oh, my God.
Must have been some oddly type of fan service.
Yeah.
It's really weird fan service.
That's a really weird contraption she was using, too. I've never seen anything like it.
Different strokes for different folks. Man.
Whatever folks.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I've never seen something like it. That's all.
Sounds like a good time.
I'm just glad.
God, this podcast is becoming so inappropriate so quickly. It's escalating.
I'm just glad I didn't find. I'm glad I didn't find that contraption near my bathroom crawl space, my tub. You good?
You need to mention that.
Oh God!
You need to mention it. Do it.
Oh my God! You want to tell this story on the podcast?
Oh God! It's a very inappropriate. This is not podcast material.
All right, maybe
we're getting way off kilter here.
Bro, having a good
It's
time, though.
It's escalating quickly, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
having
It's
a good
escalating.
time.
I apologize. It's escalated.
It's gonna go from a family-friendly horror podcast to rated R real quick.
It's already been rated R because of us swearing, but whatever.
Or it's
Listen,
gonna be
discretion is advised.
XXX version of Everything Horror Podcast.
Anyways.
Alright, anyway, since nobody has anything else to add.
That's podcast related. Oh, God.
What's that supposed to mean?
Exactly what I said.
So, what do you guys... Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Let me figure out. What would you think if they did some type of sequel or prequel to this? What would you guys think of that? Like, do you really think there should be another one? I really don't think so. I think the first one just pretty much does its duty.
They don't need to make another one. One pretty much told the story. If they did another one, it would have to be maybe a different family or something like that. But I mean, you already know what the Babadook is and what it's about, so I really don't think there should be another one.
No, but if they could pull off a different story, maybe a different name, because like what you, Crystal or Tessa, were saying something about everybody had their own boogeymans.
Oh yeah, everyone has their own perception of what the boogeyman is.
Which, that kind of reminds me of a line from Silent Hill, where I think it's in the first one, or second one, I'm trying to remember now. I think it's the first one where, like, one of the guys that's with the detective, I believe, said something about, like, everybody had their very own views of their own boogeyman or something like that, which I thought is kind of interesting, too. But Silent Hill is another episode for another day where we can talk about the different type of quote-unquote boogeymans. But, I think that's about it then. So, babe.
So, listeners, this concludes our podcast for this evening. I do apologize that it's gotten inappropriate at certain points, but we wouldn't be who we are if we didn't have a little bit of inappropriateness.
Hey, we gotta have fun somehow.
Like on our podcast, it does say that it is explicit, so you have been warned.
Well, on iTunes it does say it. We have to make mental note of that, which I'm probably going to have to make some type of note in the description, like, hey, near the end, be prepared.
It gets a bit racy.
But yes.
Let's just put explicit in our names on Instagram.
Might as well.
So, I was your host for tonight, Tessa Baker, and I was joined by
Podolski.
Chrystello Lovebello.
Who is the
Lamont
newest...
Derrickson.
Oh, yes, Lamont Derrickson. And Crystal is also our newest co-assistant host. And Lamont is our amazing guest who would be on some episode, but unfortunately, family comes first, so...
And we understand that, and like we said, buddy, you and your family are in our thoughts.
Yep. So, and it's good that things seem to be looking like...
They're getting better.
Yeah, they're getting better, which is always awesome. But for everybody else, you already know how we end this.
Stay scary.